Caught my wife cheating on me with multiple guys after she got a promotion. So I took revenge by. Emily and I had been married for 8 years, and I always believed we had a strong relationship. We had our ups and downs like any other couple, but we always seemed to come out stronger on the other side. When Emily got the promotion she had been working so hard for, I was incredibly proud of her. She had put in countless hours, sacrificed weekends, and pushed herself to the limit to climb the corporate ladder. This promotion was supposed to be the reward for all her hard work, and I was thrilled to see her succeed. However, things started to change almost immediately after she got the news. She became more distant, spending long hours at the office, and when she was home, she was glued to her phone. I chalked it up to the pressures of her new role, but a nagging feeling told me something was off. I wanted to trust her, but the more I tried to convince myself that everything was fine, the more uneasy I became. One night, Emily told me she had to stay late at the office to prepare for an important meeting the next day. It wasn't unusual, but something about the way she said it made me suspicious. I decided to drive to her office and surprise her with dinner, hoping to spend some quality time together. When I arrived, the office was mostly dark, but I could see the light on in her office. As I walked down the hallway, I heard laughter, Emily's laughter, but not just hers. There were male voices, too. My heart raced as I crept closer to the door, which was slightly ajar. What I saw through the crack made my blood run cold. Emily was sitting on her desk, her blouse unbuttoned, laughing and flirting with two of her male colleagues. One of them had his hand on her thigh, and the other was whispering something in her ear that made her giggle. I felt like I had been punched in the gut. I quietly backed away from the door, my mind racing. I didn't confront her then and there because I needed to think. I needed a plan. I left the office without being seen and drove home in a daze. How could she do this to me? After everything we had been through, how could she throw it all away for some cheap thrill? Over the next few days, I became obsessed with finding out the truth. I went through her phone when she wasn't around, read her emails, and even followed her on a couple of occasions. What I found out was worse than I could have imagined. Emily wasn't just cheating on me with those two men. I discovered she had been involved with multiple guys over the past few months. Some were colleagues, others were clients, and all of them were using her new position as a way to get close to her. I was devastated, but I wasn't about to let her get away with it. I decided to gather as much evidence as I could before making my move. I took screenshots of her messages, saved copies of incriminating emails, and documented everything I found. I even hired a private investigator to get solid proof that she was cheating during her so-called business trips. Once I had everything I needed, I anonymously sent all the evidence to her company's HR department. I knew they had a strict policy against office romances, especially ones that involved multiple partners. I also knew that some of the men she was involved with were married, and I made sure their wives received the same evidence I had gathered. The fallout was immediate and brutal. Emily was called into a meeting with HR the next day, and by the time she got home, she was in tears. She had been fired on the spot for violating company policy and for creating a hostile work environment. The men she had been involved with faced similar consequences. Some were fired, others were demoted, and all of them had their personal lives turned upside down. But I wasn't done yet. I had one more move to make. I filed for divorce, citing her infidelity and the irreparable damage she had done to our marriage. I made sure our friends and family knew exactly why we were splitting up, and I had no problem telling them about the multiple affairs. Emily was left with nothing, no job, no reputation, and soon, no husband. After the divorce was finalized, I felt a sense of closure. The betrayal had cut deep, but the revenge had been worth it. I knew Emily would have to live with the consequences of her actions for the rest of her life. As for me, I started to rebuild, focusing on my own happiness and well-being. I moved on, knowing that I had taken control of a situation that could have destroyed me. Emily's promotion had been the beginning of her downfall, and I made sure she would never forget the price she paid for her betrayal.